The Lakers have just extended Anthony Davis with a 3-year, $186 million contract extension, making it the richest contract extension in NBA history, although we know that that's probably going to change pretty soon. But is this a good move for the Lakers? Let's discuss it. Listen, if you're new to the channel, this is P.kidd Talks NBA. Appreciate all of you all have been following me. Let's get into the video, man. You know who I am. You know why you came. Let's talk about it. Anthony Davis is one of those individuals where if you look at him statistically, he's one of the best people, one of the best players who've ever played. He's top 75 for a reason. Some people would argue with it. Some people would argue with his accolades. But if you look at it, I believe he's been a block champ. He's been for some odd reason he doesn't have a DPOY, but he definitely could have been in that situation. He has a lot of accolades behind his name. However, one of the biggest questions about him has always been availability. And most people will sit there and tell you that the best ability is availability, and availability ain't always been his strong suit. So with the Lakers now extending him well beyond what LeBron James' contract is, kind of serves as a bridge between that. Is this the right moves for the Lakers? In my opinion, I think it's an absolute win and a necessity. When you look at what teams kind of look like when LeBron James leaves, it almost looks as if, you know, they built the team around LeBron, and then when he leaves, that team goes to crap. And you've seen it happen time and time again. Cleveland Cavaliers, first time he left them, they absolutely look like crap because that team was built specifically around his skill set. And that's not a knock on him or anything like that. You do what you have to do to win. And they had a winning record. They were a force within the Eastern Conference. You can't say anything about that. You look at how Miami structured it. Miami's a little different. You have other all-stars there. They still kind of weathered that storm. But even after that, looking at the Cavs and look again, that was built for him. Outside, it wasn't built for Kyrie. It was built for him. That roster totally shifted when LeBron James came, and they got people who fit his skill set, knew how he played, and at the same time would hide certain deficiencies. Kyrie always hid the deficiencies of LeBron James being a scorer in very clutch moments. In fact, I'm not saying that LeBron isn't clutch, but comparatively, when they absolutely needed a bucket and needed to just have that sheer firepower, Kyrie was that person. That, needless to say, this is not about him. Ultimately, what I'm trying to say is you see what teams look like when LeBron James leaves. The Lakers are not trying to go through that. So instead of playing it, safe and things of that nature, or trying to see what happens with LeBron and where he may go, they're like, hey, we want to tie ourselves to a younger top 75 player that will extend us past that moment in which LeBron is going to either leave or retire, whatever he decides to do. And it's well deserved, whatever he decides to do. And this is the Lakers' way of doing that. Now you can see, depending on other moves they make, them slowly start to build around Anthony Davis, which I think has always been, or should have been as of late, the way to go. Excuse me. I think that them actually going to build around him, catering to that, and kind of throwing caution to the wind when you look at how much, but it was a maximum available. And even when it comes to him being a Laker, he's only behind Shaq and Kareem as far as blocks in the season and stuff like that. He's been a force to be reckoned with. And at this point, you have to give him kudos for tying him down to that. Now, again, people are always going to question his availability. I want people to understand some of the injuries that he had were just freak injuries. I look at one of the ankle one is the one I look at specifically because of how long it lingered and what happened. You can't do anything about a player rolling his ankle. The way it happened, he goes up for a rebound, came down, boom. It's not as if it was doing something trivial and then he was just brittle. Some people like to call him Mr. Glass, and unfortunately, that just doesn't hold up. Look, Anthony Davis, for the most, I don't believe, I have to go back and look. I don't want to do that mid-video, but I don't believe he's ever played 82. But he's played majority of his games for a good portion of his career. Has he had an injury history? Yeah, he does. But when he's available and he has shown up, I mean, absolute stud. You look at the championship that Anthony Davis got with the Lakers. He carried them well up into the finals, which is exactly the type of player LeBron needed. And then when he was having his struggles, LeBron takes off. But that's what you want, that tandem there. But make no mistake about it, bubble or not, which I think the bubble competition was the purest form of basketball we've seen, simply because you got to see NBA players in their element across the board. All those stories you heard about people, being cold in practice and stuff like that. Well, without a crowd and stuff like that, you got to see people just go off and play and just hoop. And it felt like that. And to me, that made competition higher. So I actually give the bubble more credit than most people. It's a different take. Some people won't agree with it. I really don't care, because at the end of the day, I've actually seen NBA players who you won't even know tear people up, programs and stuff like that. But you're like, man, why can't they do it there? It's a lot of different factors: scheme, coaching, crowd, nerves, different things that don't necessarily equate to them being skilled, but maybe a more mental game. You got that totally removed, distraction free. You got to see the best form of basketball. And Anthony Davis in that thing was a god amongst men. He's one of the best players in the league, and he carried them absolutely. And for that in itself, them extending him for that, seeing what he could produce, was worth it, in my opinion. But I want to hear your thoughts. I know Lakers Nation is going to have some back and forth about this. I know Lakers Nation is going to sit there and nitpick about this. Some people are going to absolutely love and relish the fact that they were able to get this done. And I mean, why not? It's, again, largest extension, 3-year, 82 million. I mean, 60 million a year practically. Yeah, but that's also going to show you where the money is going. But again, this is me saying this is a good move for the Lakers. If you look at how the Lakers played without LeBron at certain stretches, it looked like they had some pieces there was pretty good. And so this, again, just gives you a nice stopgap, gives you a bridge, in my opinion, between what the Lakers are going to look like up until LeBron's contract is over or until he retires, and then gives you a mainstay and a star that you still have on your roster, still put butts in the seats, but still maintain a certain level of competitiveness within the West and Anthony Davis. I want to hear your thoughts, though. Do you think this was a good move or not? Do you think this is something that's going to hurt the Lakers in the long run? Or do you think, this is a caveat, this was just trade bait? Mind you, money got a match. In this new CBA. The new CBA has a lot of restrictions on how you could try to make up money on these contracts. And so with all these extensions being what they are, you can kind of see some different moves being made. But again, I want to hear your thoughts. Whether it's love, whether it's hate, put it in the chat. I'll be in there with you. Till next time, man. Peace.